Well, to help record what's inside, I may switch to the camera overhead, which I've now repositioned onto a shelf via a clamp. There is, however, a ceiling light above, so it may cast shadows down onto the table. If that's the case, just behind me here, I've got a couple of little video lights, a Godox LED with 64 LEDs, two of those to help shine some light in the corner. I've also got my little camera on a stick, which is my rather old iPhone. First job, find a temporary home for all these things and clear the decks. Let's get started. This may take some time. Well, here we are, ready to start. This, by the way, is not a can of beer. It's actually, it's ridiculous, it's a screwdriver. It just, I don't know. It has to be done, doesn't it? There we are, various little bits. I've placed the computer onto a spinning Lazy Susan, is that what they're called? Round the back we have 5 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to undo with this. So the method is to slide it forward. Anything else still holding it? There we go. And this is it. So if I switch to the phone camera, we can have a quick look around. And I would say first impressions, it looks rather clean. Really quite nice. We are, I notice, missing 1 or 2 screws to hold the PC bus cards in place, including this one. Now this is one of the longer cards. This is attached to this ribbon, which I'm assuming runs to the hard drive. That's really quite difficult to tell. Oh, there's still more bits attached. And, rather nicely, I can see already, it is an IBM part. So if I get that to focus in, there we are, we can see this first card with its MFM controller ports, which come in 2 parts. That's the data, I assume. That's, I can't remember, I'm not sure. So that is an IBM hard drive controller, so that's nice to have. Zbeck chips, I don't know anything about that. The other thing I noticed while I've got the camera in my hand, we look down there, we can just about see the edge of the motherboard. Here we are. This is a 64 kilobytes to 256 kilobyte system board, so it's certainly an early one. Before I take this out, I think I'm going to take the speaker out as it's rather close. surprisingly difficult. There we go, to get that out. Getting out this slot at the back. Oh, and the RCA jack catches on the frame there. Well, that's quite interesting. There are a couple of small capacitors here, so I wonder if this has been recapped. I would imagine those would be tantalums originally. There's also a little jumper on here. That's going to set it to one thing or another. So this is a Persist Color Graphics Display Adapter. Look down there again, Persist with a warranty number. What interests me is seeing these little capacitors on the board. I would expect to see little round tantalums instead. So I think that's rather interesting. I wonder if this has been recapped, or whether that was original. Perhaps they used a different system. It's got looks like a EEPROM there. It's presumably the main chip. Now this looks like a parallel card, because a graphics MDA would have the video and a parallel. This seems to have video, 9-pin video, and composite, I assume. Not IBM, I'm guessing. I'm guessing Persist is its own company. And once these have been in and out a couple of times, I think they'll be easier to remove. Here we go, that's giving way. Now this has got tantalums on there. Yes, parallel card, very clearly stated. Bring my little camera in again. Camera on a stick. This most certainly says parallel card. And what you would normally expect to see are these tantalums. Those little yellow blobs, they are the ones that can short out and need testing before we switch anything on. Let's get that out of the way. I think we can remove the edge connector. Yes, there we go. Take my camera on a stick. That looks to be a very typical floppy drive. The edge connector at the rear end. An external 60-pin, I believe, connector on the outside. Blank. Nothing there at all. I'm wondering if this is memory expansion. There's another little... Ooh, there we go. I'll probably have to look back at the video to see which slot these cards were in, as the slots can vary. Well, look at that. going to take my camera on a stick. That is certainly a memory expansion. And what it says down there, Memo 576. I don't know if that includes the 64 kilobytes that are on the board already. Probably does. So that would be 512 that's on the card. The last one I'm not familiar with. Don't know what that's going to be. Possibly a serial. There we go. Now again, we have these big orange tantalums. I'll take my camera on a stick. I immediately see these things, little yellow blobs, orange blobs in this case. What it is an async card. So that is the serial connections to share data with other machines, I assume. Now that looks interesting. We come in here and lift these cables out the way. That to me looks like an Intel 8088 and next to it a purple and gold ceramic chip, which, if I can zoom in, is an 8087. We have a maths coprocessor. That's thrilling. Now, is there room to remove this cable? Oh, there is. Good. That to me looks like it might be... Oh, I take it back. It does actually say 2084 on it. I wondered if this is a ribbon from a later purchase. No, IBM part number. That's an original cable for our floppy controller, so that's nice. Just going to catch on the table. Maybe be a little bit sharp. Let's just lift it up by hand. There is a little hole here. I don't know if the overhead can pick that up. Just about. Catch the light on it. There we are, the little hole, which has a couple of screws in there, so there's a little bit more work to do before we can remove the drives. Perhaps I'll have a go with removing the power supply. Oh look, there's a blank here for the battery. Take that away, and a little plate. I don't know why it says high pot. Well, that would be where you would access a battery. Do you get a battery on this model, or is that only the 286? While I'm here, I might as well take the handy cam once again and show you. This is an IBM 5160. It is made in Scotland. It's actually rather nice to have a UK built computer. It was their attempts to create what they were calling Silicon Glen. We have Silicon Valley in the States. Cambridge they decided to call Silicon Fen because Cambridge is on the edge of the Fenlands in the east of England. So when they tried to create some industry in Scotland, they called it Silicon Glen. I don't think the name stuck for very long. It's quite catchy. And Greenock is just across the Clyde from Dunoon, where my grandfather used to live. I used to go up there every summer. A day's drive in the car, in the back of the car, my dad driving. Nothing to do but sing songs in the back seat to amuse my mother, apparently. She quite liked it. I don't think that's going to come out. That has to slide. So it's going to be the drives. I'm going to have to well, the screws are off there, so that will help. Let's place it on the plastic, that will protect my table. My little plastic turntable. Now that's interesting. I've got one crosshead screw and one flathead screw. Someone's been in here before me. Position now. A deeply recessed flathead screw is particularly frustrating, but it has come out. This probably comes down to the fact that most screws you can find in England, probably Scotland as well, are actually metric. It's quite unusual to find imperial size after 1970. And so someone probably happened to have this screw, perhaps lost the other one in the carpet. That'll do, that'll hold it. I've certainly done that. I'm trying to undo against a very loose thread. I tell you what, let's continue with the hard drive. If for no other reason, it'll stop it getting chucked about while I try and work this out. As you never know, there's just a chance it might work. That's probably what happened. I think that screw underneath is simply because you can get screws in this side. Is that on camera? On this side, where the drives are together, you can't get any screws in. They're probably just a little bit loose. Oh look, in the original 5150. Now that clears enough space to get the cables off. And of course the other one as well. We have a Molex adapter as well. That to come away. There we go. Wow, won't you look at that? The glory of the Seagate Technology ST412. Now I'm assuming that's not the 20 megabyte drive, but something slightly bigger. Maybe 30 megabytes, who knows? A pin? I'm interested in that device to know quite what that might be. And it seems perhaps it locks the head, the drive head or something, in which case that looks like it's not locked. I just wonder if that is a locking mechanism. We'll put that delicately to one side then, and fingers crossed. Ooh, we've grooved the case here. Oh yes, IBM again. And looking at that, the potential for actually 2 hard drives. That's quite interesting. Ooh, the power supply slides. I have to find out how to disconnect that. There we go, they just pull up. That's nice and easy. Well, these little connectors just pulled off very quickly and easily. And if we come across here, this Molex connector, P10, is plugged onto the edge of this circuit board, and it's causing that to flex a lot. I'm not liking that. Never mind. Oh my gosh. Oh! But it did come off. Yes. Look at that. 130 watts. That sounds like a lot to me. What's the condition like? That's really quite clean. It's not rusty at all. That is likely to be quite a good power supply. I'm just wondering if the motherboard is free to move. Screw there and one there. Potentially, yes, it slides. This will. Ooh. Now, for such a big and heavy machine, it's a relatively compact motherboard. 8 PC bus slots, processor, maths co-processor, RAM here. Bank 0, Bank 1, Bank 2, Bank 3. 8438, so I assume that's 38th week of 1984. Nothing to see on the back. A few factory modifications in form of jumper wires. Anyway, it's all these little orange blobs down here. My other motherboard, the one in that position, has exploded. We'll see that when I take that machine apart. That is a chip that's been socketed. There's an empty socket there. That is the whole thing. Now there's enough outside this machine to run it. The only thing left is the floppy drive. Up on the face of the drive, once again on my plastic so we don't damage anything, and have one more go. Ooh! Well, there we are, just pulled straight out. So that was the wrong size. What I can notice, a fair amount of dust inside here. It'd be nice to get this case washed. I'm debating whether to wash the cards and the motherboard. I don't think they need it. So rather than do anything potentially damaging, I might leave them alone. IBM logo in the plastic there. There we go, look at that. So I can get this board off the top, I can get into the head underneath and give that a wipe with some isopropyl alcohol. We have a circuit board at the back. I'm missing one slot here. That looks replaced from something else. That might explain why that was a little tricky to get out. That is incorrect. These look more authentic, but there's only 3 of them. There should be 5. So the other 3 slots must coincide with the drive and not be full length. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the last 2 collide with the drive. I think I might pinch some pieces off the other machine. Just have one very nice complete machine. What I can see here in the rust, there's just beginning to be some hints of rusty, yeah. The powder coating is just beginning to come off and leave some rust traces down there. Same along an edge there. But otherwise, that is a very clean case. An ideal starting point for a new project.